12 million people in the UK are now categorised as obese, and an equal number suffering from some form of eating disorder. Our relationship with food is in turmoil, so we've opened the doors to a brand new feeding clinic to combat these disastrous diets. Each week, a Supersize and Superskinny pairing will swap plates and get a taste of life on the other side of the culinary tracks.
I don't think I can go another couple of hours without any food.
This week, it's a tale of two Amys.
On a really bad day, I could clear the kitchen cupboards.
Just missing a meal, I don't even notice when I do that anymore.
Despite sharing a name, they certainly don't share the same diets.
Seriously though, do you not think that pizza every night's a bit much?
Just eating this sheer volume of fast food is actually putting me off fast food for life.
And at the end of her stay, Supersizer Amy will be jetting across the pond to meet one American whose battle with overeating is a matter of life and death.
There is a chance that it could kill me.
Plus, 3 women with different eating disorders face their food fears head-on in the supermarket.
Yeah. Sorry, this might take some time.
The all-new feeding clinic has once again opened its doors to another Supersize and Superskinny duo. For 5 days, they'll be swapping diets to help them break their dreadful dietary habits. And overseeing the swap, Dr. Christian Jessen. Checking in today is 21-year-old Amy Green from Portsmouth.
On a bad day, I can get through a whole loaf of bread, 4 or 5 white chocolate bars, 4 custard slices.
This young mum is piling on the pounds due to her incessant grazing.
On a really bad day, I could clear the kitchen cupboards.
A night scene with husband Darren are shared with close friend Donna. Kebab.
We have takeaway about 2 or 3 times a week. Friday's payday, so that's always a big treat night, and we have the super large Donna with large cheesy chips. Usually when I start eating, it's for comfort. It makes me feel better, and I find it very hard to stop.
So hard, in fact, it's not unusual for Amy to carry on with last night's dinner the morning after. And to wash the whole thing down, Amy reaches for one of her biggest loves.
I love cola, drink lots of it. On a bad day, I can get up to about 5 litres of cola a day. I love cola. I love it.
Amy may be passionate about her cola, but her increasing weight is pushing all the passion out of her relationship with Darren.
I'm quite paranoid that Darren doesn't find me attractive. I tend to push him away, and he finds that really difficult.
Amy's size has affected our sex life. I've got to put my arm around her. She pushes me away, and it just makes me feel down. She's the love of my life. I don't want her to be like that. I just want her to be happy.
I think if we carry on the way we're going, then we might not last that much longer.
It's time for Supersizer to meet the doctor and find out what damage her diet has already done. At 5'8", a healthy weight for Amy would be between 9.5 and 12 stone. She actually weighs in at a whopping 20 stone, 8 pounds.
You're 21. How on earth did your weight get to this state?
It started when I was very young. I started sneak eating at 7, and it's just escalated from there.
How do you feel about your weight now?
I think it's disgusting. I hate how much I weigh.
And therefore, why haven't you changed anything?
I've tried. It's a really bad habit that I can't break.
But there's also something or someone else that has finally prompted Amy to seek Dr. Christian's help.
Although my daughter's only 8 months old, it does concern me that she'll pick up habits and that she'll be eating unhealthily at such a young age, and that she'll go through all the similar problems that I had and end up where I am now.
To help Amy change for good is another Amy, 18-year-old Amy Walsh from Newton Abbot, Devon. This super skinny student juggles a packed college course with a part-time job, but despite it being in a bakery, still doesn't find time for food.
I lead quite a busy lifestyle. I don't necessarily find the time to sit down and enjoy my food. I find I have to eat on the go or not eat at all. Just missing a meal, I don't even notice when I do that anymore. I pick up my foods quite a lot, especially when I'm at work. I find that I carry on working and eat as well, so a small pasty, which should only take me 10 minutes to eat, will end up lasting me 3 hours. Convenience is more important than what I'm eating, I guess. So it's very, very, very easy for me to just grab a pizza out of the fridge and whack it in the oven.
Amy's failure to understand that eating regularly is essential has become a concern to her family.
I see her sometimes and I'm like, Amy, do you eating? And she's shaking and she's like, no, I'm fine. It's like, please, Amy, can you eat something? She's like, no, I'm fine, I'll be fine. So it's horrible to even look at Amy sometimes because she's so thin, and I can't stand her looking like that anymore because I feel like it's hurting her.
Like her Supersize namesake, Amy is topping up the energy that's missing from her tiny diet by always having something fizzy to hand.
I find that unless I have a glass of cola, I don't have any energy for the day. A lot of the time I am replacing my meals with bottles of cola.
Amy knows where she's going wrong and hates the effect it's had on her body.
When I look in the mirror, I feel my body hasn't developed the way it should have because of my low diet, and I always feel the same way, you know, just a little girl.
Well, if anyone can help Amy make the right changes, it's Dr. Christian. Time to check into the feeding clinic.
Your diet is pretty spectacularly limited, isn't it?
Yeah,
Tell me what's going
definitely. I'm quite a fussy eater, I must say, and pretty much since I was a very little girl, I've been very particular about what I like to eat and what I don't like to eat. And I guess because my parents always let me have my own way, it's always stayed that way.
You think that was the start then of
Definitely the start of my downfall.
Okay.
And at 15, a tragic loss triggered a dramatic downward spiral in Amy's weight.
My dad passed away after being in hospital for 4 months. And that was a really, really traumatic time for me. He had severe brain damage. When he went into hospital, he was about 13.5 stone. And throughout his time there, he was dropping weight. That was really painful for me to watch, just to see him getting so small because he was my Superman. And then I had this concoction in my head that if I was smaller than him, then he wouldn't be so ashamed of himself and he'd be better. When my dad passed away, I realised that everything I had done was pointless, more than pointless. I'd completely destroyed myself over an irrational thought that didn't make any sense.
All of your explanations for the things that you have done in a funny way do make sense. They're completely easy to see your logic, even if perhaps the logic wasn't quite right. It's very easy to understand, but what it tells me is that you're very, very headstrong. And when you want to do something, you absolutely stick to it. So, you know, use this week again to sort of think about all those things and almost harness that power within you and make sure that actually you turn it towards something good.
Yeah, definitely.
The fact Amy knows what's prompted her not to eat properly is a good start. So it's time for her to meet the woman whose diet she'll be following this week.
Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Amy.
So am I.
Wow, that's incredible.
Oh my God, how little are you?
It's just strange seeing someone that's pretty much half the size of you, literally.
54 around the waist I was.
Well, I'm 24 around mine. God. Yeah. Having Amy tell me her measurements and hearing that they were a lot of the time double the size of mine made me think, gosh, is Amy, 2 people, or am I half a person,
Now that the two Amys have met, it's time for them to come face to face with what they do or do not eat. And for both Amys, it's an opportunity to see what lies ahead this week.
So, Amy, we're going to start with you, and we're going to start with breakfasts. What on earth is that?
That is a chocolate bar.
That is a chocolate bar. Any other breakfast to come?
That is all my breakfast.
Do you think it gets a bit better at lunchtime?
I hope so.
I hope so too. So does Amy. Let's have a look. Cereal.
That's more cereal.
So that's the breakfast that you should have had.
Yeah.
We've done all of breakfasts and we've done all of lunches for an entire week. Is this lady's a vegetarian? Perhaps dinner time is a great festival of fresh fruit and vegetables, is it? A slice of pizza. A slice of pizza. Look at this.
Seeing it come down, that's quite embarrassing.
There is one other thing that you use as a major source of energy, as a major pick-me-up, isn't there? You get through an average of about 2 litres of cola a day. Nothing nutritious, nothing that will make you grow, heal, repair. Pitiful, isn't it?
It really is.
An active teenager, Amy should be consuming around 2,000 calories a day, but her restrictive diet only contains an average 1,700 calories. 500 of those come from her love of fizzy diet drinks.
So, Amy, your turn. Are you ready for this? Breakfast for you first. I thought I said breakfast.
I eat leftovers from the night before a lot of the time for breakfast.
That's more than I would buy if I was going to a takeaway.
Good, tell her, don't tell me, tell her. Lunches, let's have a look. Bagels with fried egg and bacon and barbecue sauce. All right, dinner time. Oh, yes. It's sort of heavy, stodgy, starchy, masses of bread. That looks like Chinese takeaway.
That is.
Yeah, drinks?
I drink a lot of cola. It's disgusting.
You must have seen all this before. Why is it shocking you now?
I've never even thought of it that way before. It's horrible.
Young mum Amy's average calorie intake is a staggering 6,000 calories a day. That's a gut-busting 4,000 calories a day more than the average UK woman needs. Put bluntly, Amy's eating enough for 3 women every single day.
You both are complete cola junkies. There is absolutely no point in me swapping you drink for drink, is there? I'm putting down a rule right now. You're not going to have any cola this week. It's out of the swap. It's out of your week. It's gone. You are using it as a substitute for proper food, and that's got to stop. And you are using it as an emotional crutch.
It's the Amy's first meal of the week, and our skinny, veggie-dodging vegetarian is about to have a Chinese takeaway, Supersize style. So that's rice, chips, vegetarian spring rolls, tofu with ginger, mixed veg with black bean sauce, and more mixed veg in sweet and sour sauce. And for Supersize Amy, it's a single slice of pizza.
This is probably the biggest meal I have ever had in my life.
Yeah. How you feeling? Honestly,
I'm feeling quite sick. I'm going to have stomach pains tonight. I normally get stomach pains if I eat 3 slices of pizza.
Really?
I think I probably should call it a day. Oh, it was just far too big, the portion size. I can't understand how Amy can eat this much without getting full.
After that dinner of the 1 slice of pizza, I'm definitely going to be hungry later.
Coming up, Superskinny Amy embarks on a feeding frenzy.
I can't believe how much food I've eaten. It's ridiculous.
And why the supermarket can be a battleground when you have an eating disorder.
Looking at all the yummy cheesecakes almost scares me a little bit. Thinking about trying to keep them in, because I never would, never ever.
It's the first morning of the diet swap, and breakfast for Amy is a plate of déjà vu. That's feeding clinic lingo for
Leftover Chinese.
So how do you find this appetising in the morning? I mean, to be honest with you,
Because I don't even think about it. It's something I'll grab out the fridge, shove it in the microwave, gone.
and from takeaway to taken away. As for supersizer Amy, breakfast is absolutely nothing.
oh gosh, that's beyond full.
Where I'm so hungry, I could have easily eaten that Chinese. I wouldn't have even thought twice about it.
I felt quite hungry, which was really good, but my worst nightmare was placed in front of me, which was yesterday's leftovers.
And the nightmare continues at lunch as Superskinny Amy is faced with a chunky cheese and pickle sandwich and a large bowl of tomato pasta, while Supersize Amy's first bite of the day is a chocolate bar.
It's small.
I know, I'm so sorry. How long would it usually take you to finish a meal like this?
That'll be gone in 5 minutes, easy.
That's incredible. Definitely feels like my stomach is at its limit. I couldn't get another mouthful in.
Watching Amy eat that meal, especially since I just had the chocolate bar, it was difficult because once I started eating, I just wanted more. I'm struggling to concentrate. I feel quite fragile.
I think it's absolutely incredible that Amy can consume such large portions. The size was really, really big, and I did find it quite difficult, especially after my large meal this morning.
And it doesn't get any easier for super skinny Amy with the appearance of a post-lunch snack.
What would compel you to eat this now, then?
It was there.
Oh, really, I can't believe how much food I've eaten. It's ridiculous.
Amy may be struggling with the amount of food on her plate, but she's already feeling the benefits of swapping a liquid lunch for something more hearty.
I feel I have quite a lot of energy, surprisingly, because I usually get all my energy from my cola, and having my cola taken away from me, I did think that I was going to be very lethargic and tired and exhausted, but I'm feeling okay.
The increase in energy from larger portions is a good thing for super skinny Amy, but for Supersize Amy, prolonged overeating puts her at risk from a number of health issues, including strokes, heart disease, and diabetes. To make sure she understands the implications of her diet, Dr. Christian has arranged a glimpse into the life of an American woman whose issues with food began at the age Amy is now.
So, have a look at this.
My name's Julie. I live in Spindale, North Carolina, and I weigh 29 stone. When I was 21 years old, I started to have a problem with food. I was in a bad marriage at the time, and when we finally got divorced, I internalized a lot of emotions, and I covered that by eating. I was a food addict, and, when I was happy, I ate. When I was sad, I ate. And it was an emotional outlet. My obesity affects every part of my life. I have a 6-year-old. He wants me to come outside and play with him. And I have a chair out in the yard that I sit in because I can only stand for a short amount of time.
Yes, I just broke the chair.
It really makes me sometimes just feel like a waste of space. I mean, if I get real about it, I have no life like this. I get lesions on my skin where it rubs together, boils, it's painful. When my husband and I are intimate with each other, I do not feel attractive. I don't feel sexy. And even when my husband tells me, I love you, you're beautiful to me, I don't believe that. I mean, I have to be honest and just say I feel gross. It's just depressing. I want to be feminine, and I can't. I wish I knew then what I know now, because my entire life would have been different. Amy, you're 21 years old. You have your whole life ahead of you. Don't let your life get out of control like I did. If you don't take care of it now, when you're 40, this is going to be you. And you don't want to be here, hon. It's like a living hell. And I want you to have the happy life that you deserve. I want your children to have a mommy that can play with them outside. I want your husband to have a wife that isn't afraid to love him. Take care of it now. And don't let it get to this point, because once it gets here, it's awfully hard to change.
There's so much she was saying that I can relate to already. What she said at the end about me letting Darren know that I do love him, that's very true and hit a nerve.
I've got a surprise for you, because I'm going to send you out to America to meet her. Spend some time with her and her family and really find out her problems so that you realise how difficult her life is.
It was like a slap in the face. It was that real. She's at the stage where, because she's so big, she can't go and play with her 6-year-old son, and that's something I really am frightened of, is like as Imogen gets older and gets more independent, that I won't be able to join in and interact with her and play with her, and that's actually one of my biggest fears.
For Amy, breaking the cycle of comfort eating is not going to be easy. But for the estimated 1.6 million eating disorder sufferers in Britain, issues around when, what and how much to eat dominate every waking moment. Last week, 3 women with eating disorders embarked on a course of therapy designed to help them challenge their unhealthy relationship with food, under the supervision of consultant psychiatrist Dr. Helena Fox and eating disorders dietitian Ursula Philpott. 32-year-old Meena Krishnan suffers from bulimia. Bulimics crave food, then secretly binge on large amounts before vomiting.
If I've eaten a normal meal, then I won't be sick. I like to keep the good food in. It's only when I binge on complete rubbish that I throw it up.
34-year-old Emma Paul suffers from anorexia nervosa, an illness characterised by the restriction of calories.
Food's constantly on my mind, planning out what I'm going to eat.
19-year-old Erin Ruddick straddles both illnesses. She suffers from a form of anorexia known as anorexia binge-purge subtype. Sufferers are very underweight, but their love of food leads them to lose control, secretly binging, then vomiting.
I only feel comfortable if my stomach feels empty. If I can feel food in my stomach, I feel anxious.
Dietitian Ursula Philpott has asked the group to meet her at the supermarket, a place that for all three girls presents different problems.
For most people, shopping is an everyday activity. But for people with eating disorders, being surrounded by food, having to make decisions about food, becomes a real anxiety-provoking experience.
Ursula has asked the group to shop for a well-balanced lunch. She's given them a list of ingredients for a carbohydrate-based meal, which includes pasta, a small side salad and a full-fat dessert.
I don't enjoy food shopping. I end up very much sticking to the same foods.
This task is designed to challenge the group by getting them to buy food with a high fat and high sugar content, which they would usually choose to avoid and consider unsafe. Emma's daily diet consists largely of fruit and vegetables, and she's finding it hard to move away from her usual safe foods.
Salad stuff, there's salad.
15 minutes later, Emma is still in the salad aisle.
Now be it for salad. Right.
Emma almost completely denies her body any carbohydrates, and now she must face one of her biggest fears.
I haven't eaten pasta in a very long time. Yeah, hate it.
Sorry, this might take some time.
For Mina, being confronted by such a vast amount of food is an overwhelming experience.
So much to choose from. Food shopping is really not a lot of fun for me. I'll be staring at the 50,000 types of bread thinking, what sort of bread should I get? I just get a bit panicky and unpleasant in supermarkets. It's pretty uncomfortable walking down this aisle because this tends to be the the bad aisle.
Mina generally binges on sweet foods, so being surrounded by so much of it and having to choose only one is tough.
Eating something like that will just make me think about being sick, because that's the sort of thing I eat in order to be sick, so it's kind of, it's so depressing.
Buying high-fat and high-carb foods isn't so problematic for Erin.
I really like cheesy things, and I really like chocolatey things and cakey things, dessert-type foods.
But her type of anorexia means she purges almost everything she eats.
Looking at all the yummy cheesecakes almost scares me a little bit. Thinking about trying to keep them in, because I never would, never ever.
However, they have managed to face their fears under Ursula's guidance. Now they're challenged with part 2 of the task, to eat the food they've just bought. For both Mina and Erin, the challenge is less about eating the food and more about dealing with the urge to binge, then purge after the meal.
I'm going to have that much because I might be able to keep that in.
Yeah. Pasta and cheese are fear foods for Emma, and the thought of having to eat them is a daunting prospect.
And just put a little bit more on than that. No. You can't do any more.
No, I'm fine, thank you.
Are you enjoying it?
No.
During recovery, sometimes you do have to eat even though you're not hungry, and you do have to stop even though you're not full, and you do have to eat things that you don't necessarily choose or enjoy, and it's tough. But I guess...
But like, normally I would enjoy salad, but I'm not even getting that today.
Despite her anxieties, Emma has given it a go. Mina and Erin managed to finish the first course, but their biggest challenge will be dessert.
For sufferers of bulimia nervosa, there's a fear that they will lose control on these types of foods and eat a vast amount in a short space of time, and then they will have to engage in self-induced vomiting. For sufferers of anorexia nervosa binge purge type, they will make themselves sick after a small amount of those tempting foods.
Ursula wants both Erin and Mina to start tackling the emotions they usually have when they eat sweet foods. She's prepared a fruit crumble for the group, and by using more fruit and less added sugar to sweeten it, Ursula hopes it will be less likely to trigger a binge for both girls.
After after this meal, you may well be surfing the urge to binge. That urge will rise and rise and rise and feel like it's intolerable. If you can manage not to give into it and manage just to ride the wave and surf the wave, that actually then that intense feeling will go.
In that particular setting, it was fine. I didn't feel triggering or anything. If it were just the crumble of me in a room and no one else around, one of us wouldn't make it.
In terms of keeping this down, what does that look like?
I can't think of desserts in terms of keeping it down. I can't really think of food in terms of keeping it down.
Do you think you'd be better off not to have any then in terms of keeping it down?
I think I'd be better off just shooting myself and getting it over and done with. That's how I feel.
You feel really bad about it at the minute? Erin, I think, has struggled not to purge all day, and after her meal she felt very uncomfortable. She held her stomach a lot after a meal. She looked very uncomfortable. However, I do feel that she has turned a corner slightly today. She recognises that she needs to do difficult things. In the past she's avoided them, and I think she's beginning to realise that that's one of the mistakes she's made.
Next time, the group confront their distorted body image when Ursula takes them to have 3D body casts made.
You don't want to look.
If you've been affected by any of the issues raised, go to our website channel4.com/Supersize v Superskinny. Back in the feeding clinic, and a determined Superskinny Amy is set to attack dinner, a supersized fast food meal. And her supersized counterpart gets more pizza.
Throughout the whole day, I've been getting lots of tummy troubles, you know.
Yeah.
Lots of strange noises I've never heard before, lots of aches and groans, and it's really, really not very pleasant at all. And do you get that?
I don't see it as a pain, I see it as satisfaction, which sounds so weird.
You don't see it as being full, you see it as...
I've accomplished this meal, yeah.
And Amy's taken to speed eating.
If I didn't eat like that, then I would have left more on my plate, because with every bite I was filling up a little bit more and a little bit more, so I felt I had to just get in as much as I possibly could, otherwise I wouldn't be able to finish half of what I did.
By pushing herself to keep eating today, Amy realises she could eat more at home and finally turn her life around when she leaves the clinic.
I would never do this at home. That makes me really sad. I would never push myself this much. Part of me did think that I wouldn't be able to pick up my appetite because of this, these thoughts in my head telling me you're full now. And now I've pushed past it, and every meal I've had today, it's made me think, you know what, tomorrow I'm going to be able to eat my meals, and I may not even necessarily have to push myself. I think that it might just come naturally.
You done?
Definitely more than done.
It's mid-swap in the feeding clinic, and it's dinner time. Both girls are starting to feel the strain of eating each other's meals. Whilst Superskinny Amy gets served up a large kebab with cheesy chips and mayo, Supersized Amy gets...
It's pizza. Very unexpected.
Again? Seriously though, do you not think that pizza every night's a bit much?
Obviously I know I eat pizza a lot, but I've never noticed just how much or how frequently I eat it. I mean, this is... It's massive. Again, a really, really massive portion. Dinner tonight was a big challenge for me. I was really hungry leading up to dinner, and I was really looking forward to a nice meal, and again, I was just given a pile of rubbish, and just the type of food is making my body feel horrible.
Yeah.
And I don't understand how you can't be feeling the same way that I am when you've been doing it for so long.
It's because I'm using it as a comfort. I ignore the fact that it's doing anything bad. The comments were quite personal. I know they weren't, but it was coming across quite personal. And I'm finding it quite hard watching someone else eat what I eat and hearing them tell me what they actually think of it. It's quite hard to listen to.
At the moment, just eating this sheer volume of fast food is actually putting me off fast food for life. I just think it's really astonishing that this is something that you could finish.
Stop for a minute.
Dealing with her emotions rather than hiding behind eating is difficult for Amy. Dr. Christian feels it's important she understands where her emotional attachment to food came from and hopes super skinny Amy can help.
This is me at 10. I was being quite badly bullied there. I started to comfort eat. And I'd actually come home and have beans on toast, like a meal to like you, but wouldn't tell my mum, so I'd have another meal when she got in. And as you can see, this is my 13th birthday party. Already a lot more overweight and taller. That's when the comfort eating was at its heaviest.
Do you think that because of everything that was happening at school and the way it was making you feel emotionally, maybe for you it was you controlling the situation?
I think I actually used it more as a defence mechanism. These people were calling me fat, so I was going to be fat, and then I could just say, yeah, all right then, okay, I know. This is me and Darren on our wedding day. Although I'm 7 months pregnant here, I feel that I'd have looked exactly the same if I wasn't pregnant. I didn't put a lot of weight on during the pregnancy. In fact, I lost weight in the first 3 months. You know, because I'm so young, people assume that go to the gym, just stop eating, and that it's that easy, but there's a lot of other things that's more deeply rooted
It's
than
when it's been
a
a
diet.
lifetime of habits that you haven't been able to cut at all.
I think that is why things are so bad, because I don't deal with things, I just let them stack up. And my way of coping is to just eat through my problems, and obviously that's got me here now, and that's one of my biggest problems is the size.
Hopefully facing up to her past will help Amy work towards a more positive future. It's morning and both Amys are anxious about what's for breakfast.
Amy's diet is just grease, grease, grease. I hope that it's not a high greasy, a high carbohydrate meal again, because I don't think my body could tolerate it this morning.
For breakfast, I'm just hoping for anything, because so far there hasn't been a day where she's actually eaten any breakfast.
Sorry ladies, but the challenge isn't over. That's one leftover kebab versus nothing again. With new resolve, Supersize Amy confronts her skinny counterpart about her lack of breakfast.
To be honest, I think it's quite worrying that you don't eat in the morning.
I know it's something that I need to change, and especially seeing you every morning not having anything. Obviously the diet's sort of being introduced to all the foods that I was always really afraid of, which kind of showed me that there's not really anything to be afraid of. I've just been kind of putting up barriers to prevent myself from, I guess, enjoying all the different ranges of foods there are out there.
Amy is finally seeing the light, but Dr. Christian also wants her to understand the health implications of her current dire diet.
What's wrong with that bottom?
It looks very dry, cracked, sore, not very comfortable to sit on.
That is an angry spotty botty, isn't it, really? The one I want to focus on, though, is iron. And iron deficiency will lead to anemia. Anemia is when you don't have enough oxygen carrying capacity in your blood and you become very lethargic and tired and pale, lead to all sorts of other problems. You get funny shape to your nails, your hair becomes very brittle and thin, your skin becomes sore and cracked. Eczema is very likely to happen too, and this is a picture of eczema, which is extremely itchy, and you can see whoever this is has been really scratching away.
Iron is not only found in meat. Vegetarian Amy could find the nutrition she needs in dried fruit, dark green veg, and even breakfast cereals, which have been fortified with iron by manufacturers.
Any thoughts?
I don't want a bottom like that.
Nobody would want a bottom like that. Right, let's crack on, pardon the pun. Let's look over here. This is the next one, and I think probably the most horrific one for you here. Do you know what on earth you're looking at there?
Maybe bowel area.
Absolutely right. Large intestine, colon. That's a whacking great tumour that's virtually blocking that bowel. Quite possibly that's an inoperable tumour. In other words, not much you can do about it. It's serious. One of the causes of bowel cancer, well, one of them is eating processed meat, too much of, which you don't do. The other one is fibre. Lack of fibre in your diet leads to sort of constipation and stodgy poos that spend a long time sitting around in there, causing tumours. I don't think I have ever met a vegetarian who is low in fibre, and not just low, you're only getting a third of the fibre that you should. So risk of bowel cancer in you living on your pizza diet is significant.
Good sources of fibre are fruit, nuts and seeds, and vegetables.
But in the future, it is a very real possibility unless you change your diet.
That was really shocking, I must say. and knowing that my poor diet could lead me in exactly the same direction, yeah, it was very terrifying.
It's the final meal. So has Dr. Christian's message sunk in?
You've been apologising for the sort of portions you've been giving me. I should actually just be saying thank you, because just by the sheer volume of food, it's given me my appetite back again. And that's something I haven't had in years. Being a vegetarian, I should be eating more vegetables, and I think it's absolutely... I do feel ridiculous calling myself vegetarian and
don't eat any
not eating any vegetables.
Yeah. And it seems that a week of pizza has taken a slice out of Amy's appetite.
I don't want to eat that third slice.
That's incredible. Are you honestly full, or is it more just because it's pizza again?
It could be because it's pizza again, but I genuinely am feeling really full. I just don't want to push myself.
And the final score is pizza slice 1, pasta gone.
I'm feeling really full after my meal, but it's completely different to how I felt at the beginning of the week. I felt really, really full at the beginning of the week, but it hurt. And right now I'm feeling full but satisfied.
The final dinner, it was just brilliant. It just made me realise so much that I don't have to eat it if I don't want it. I think it's a new thing, and I think it's something that's going to stay as well.
After 5 days in the feeding clinic, it's time for both Amys to return home, armed with tailor-made diet plans given to them by Dr. Christian, and the knowledge that their future now lies firmly in their own hands.
It's opened new doors for me. It showed me that there's so many different foods out there that I'm really going to enjoy.
My diet before I came in here is gone. It's just all behind me now, and I just want to get on with my life. It's a really good feeling to know that Imogen will never pick up those bad habits and have a really bad diet.
I really never thought that I could do it, and to actually see that I can, it's just definitely the biggest accomplishment of my life. I think that Amy this week has done so superbly. She's managed to control her hunger so incredibly.
The fact that we're so different has actually helped, because we've been able to help each other, and I'm so excited. I can't wait. It's going to be brilliant.
Welcome to the United States of America, a country in the throes of an obesity epidemic. In order to help our very own obese Brit, Dr. Christian has sent Amy over to Spindale, North Carolina, to meet Julie Wyant. It's an eye-opening visit, and before they meet, Amy is clearly nervous.
Today is going to be hard because I found it very emotional watching Julie's postcard. It's just like watching me in 20 years' time if I don't change.
Hey, I'm glad to finally meet you. I think I went a lot of years in denial about what a problem my weight was becoming, because I never really thought of myself as being really big. And then the doctor started telling me, you know, you're morbidly obese. That in itself should have been a wake-up call. Then I started having some serious health complications.
At the moment I suffer with liver damage, and the doctor says it's a fatty liver because I'm overweight and I have a high cholesterol. So yeah, things are already starting to build up, and I'm only 21, so... And those things just blossom into other things. You know, I actually do have type 2 diabetes now. The doctor said it was directly because of my being obese. So, you know, it can do really bad things to you.
Julie's size has got to the stage she now requires medical intervention to help her lose the weight.
What they do is they go in with it's like a stapler, and they staple my stomach so that there's only one, like, small piece that food actually goes through anymore. It's a big deal, you know, and I wish it hadn't come to a state where it requires such a drastic solution.
Do you find it frightening, this whole process that you've got to go through?
Yes, because there is a chance that it could kill me.
But the operation alone won't be enough, and Julie must also drastically change her diet.
This is a protein shake, has about 150 calories. This is what I have for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And for snacks or fill-in, like if I get hungry, I can have tomato juice or fat-free broth.
It just seems so drastic, because obviously there's just nothing solid there. I think I'd really struggle with that.
But for months afterwards, this is the diet I'm going to be on after surgery too. And I know it's hard, but I hope that you go back home and you really work hard and get down to a normal weight so that what's happened to me doesn't happen to you. You can do it.
I know. The fact that Julie's now got to have surgery to be able to fix these problems and be healthy. It's quite scary, and it's definitely not something I'd ever want to go through. I'm really glad I've had the opportunity to meet her and let her push me away from the path that I was on and more on a more healthy, happy one.
It's been a few months since the girls left the feeding clinic, and it's time to find out if things have started to change for the better.
I'm really nervous about the results today. I'm just praying that I have lost weight and that things are going in the right direction.
At the beginning, I was putting on weight quite rapidly, and then I found that it started to slow down, so I'm really quite nervous about seeing what my weight is, but I'm really, really excited.
Tell me what is new. What have you managed to change?
I eat no fast food now. I don't drink full fat cola at all. No snacking, it's just pretty much I try and stick to the 3 main meals of the day.
What about sort of thinking about why you were eating the way that you were eating?
I think a lot of it was comfort eating, and now rather than go to the cupboards now, I give my mum a ring or I'll go round to my friend's house and have a chat and just talk whatever's on my mind. The cupboards aren't an option anymore.
Amy, it's lovely to see you again. Things seem to have changed for you by the look of you.
Just ever since I left the house, my appetite has just gone through the roof.
So now it's all about variety and quantity, is it?
It really is, and I'm really enjoying it, and I'm enjoying all the different flavours that I've never really experienced before. And as for the fruits and vegetables, I try my hardest to eat my 5 a day. Sometimes I don't quite make it, but I'll be at least eating 3 or 4, which is better than what I was doing.
And so, you know, this concept of food as fuel, are you getting the hang of that side of things now too, and feeling the effects of that?
I'm absolutely feeling the effects. I'm so full of energy, it's unbelievable.
And Amy and Amy are reunited.
Oh, I'm okay. Oh, you look
Oh, you look really good and healthy. How have you been getting on with it all?
My appetite has just been through the roof.
Oh, good.
How about you? How's it been avoiding those fast foods?
Easy, that has gone, and so's the cola. I've had none at all.
Nor have I.
I'll interrupt you then. Because I've actually really been looking forward to you getting back together again, you two. Yeah. So you missed each other?
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
So we can clearly see that whatever it is that you've done has made a big difference to your whole, you know, being, your outlook on life, your happiness. But has it made a big difference to your weight? You've put on just short of half a stone, 6 pounds, which is fantastic.
Oh, that's incredible.
That is amazing. I'm actually shocked the loss for words. That's really well done.
Right, and you, Amy, then? Have you lost any weight? You have. You've lost a fantastic amount of weight. You've lost 1.5 stones.
That's really good. I'm really pleased with
It's
that.
more than really good. It's fantastic. It is really, really impressive. You're going to cry now. She's going to cry. There's always one in the cry.
Sorry, because I'm close.
I can't believe 2.5. I knew you could do it. Oh.
You're going to keep it up?
Oh, yes.
Promise me?
I promise.
Yeah, I'm proud of you both. Well done. Thank you.
It's like a new start, really. Just a new start on a healthier, positive thing to help me keep pushing in the right direction and carrying on getting the weight down. I can't imagine going backwards now. I think that would be the most stupid thing I could do.
I'm feeling absolutely fantastic. It's definitely made all the hard work that I've been doing over the past 3 months worthwhile. Now I've experienced the new me and my new lifestyle. I think the only way is up from now on.
Next week, our diet swappers are Supersize Dawn and Superskinny Charlene.
It's a diet swap, and I'm playing my part, but you're not playing yours.
Our Supersizer travels to America to experience life at 43 stone.
This is what you get from all that great eating.
And 3 weeks on, our eating disorder groups see the damage their diets have done to their bodies.
You don't want to look.